What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Scary Movie. So, of course I've seen this movie before. I've probably seen it, I don't know, a trillion billion times. And what do I think about it? I think it's an absolute classic. I don't know. This movie never gets old to me. I rewatch it every couple years, and it's just, I don't know. Every time I watch this movie, it always hits. It never disappoints. So yeah, I don't know. I think this movie's an absolute classic. So jumping into a plot summary, this movie is like an extremely popular, well-known parody movie. A lot of people probably know the plot summary, but I'm gonna go over it anyways. Just in case there's some younger individuals or other individuals who haven't seen it. So I'm gonna get into my obligatory plot summary. So, excuse me. Basically, the movie, like I said, it's a parody film of a lot of late 90s horror. It parodies the Scream films. It parodies I Know What You Did the Last Summer, among other horror films and other, pop culture pieces of media. Like, it parodies commercials as well. But basically, the plot summary, it mainly follows the plot of the first Scream. And there's these kids, there's this girl who's killed, and there's all these high schoolers, and they're getting picked off and killed by this killer wearing a ghost face costume. But it also, the plot also really follows the plot of I Know What You Did Last Summer, where there's a lot of flashbacks to this situation where these same teens accidentally killed someone a year ago, and they're getting flashbacks, and they think they're getting, like, people at their school are getting killed because someone knows that they accidentally killed this individual, and the person's trying to get revenge. So yeah, that is the basic plot summary. First things first, I want to get into the what's up scene, or what's up scene. It's gonna sound like some basic bro stuff to talk about that first, but that's always what I think of when I think of Scary Movie. And I'm telling you, like, I used to watch this movie a lot when I was like really young, and I've just continuously rewatched it over the years. But I thought that was like an original sequence. I thought they just made that up. I had no idea that was a parody of a Budweiser commercial. Like, because I'm like a somewhat younger guy. I'm like technically, like a Gen Z guy. So like, basically when it's like that commercial, I believe, ran from like 99 to 2001 or something. So it's like, I was like goo goo gaga mode. I wasn't even like sentient at that point. Like, in 2001, I was like 3 years old or something like that. So no, yeah, I was like 3 years old. So it's like, I'm not really, I can't remember anything from that time, and I'm for sure not watching Budweiser commercials at 3 years old. I mean, that would be cool if I was, but yeah. So like, whenever I watched this movie growing up, I never knew that was like a parody of like a Budweiser commercial. And once I like realized that, and I watched the commercial, I'm like this is crazy. I didn't know this was a parody too. I'm like, everything in this movie is a parody of something, pretty much. But yeah, like, I was just like mind blown. Like, I just thought that was an original sequence. But that's probably the most memorable sequence for me in the movie. I also like when, like, it's just funny. Like, you have you know, Ghostface, his like mask keeps changing. He's got the tongue sticking out. I actually had that mask. I might still have it, but I had the Ghostface mask with the tongue sticking out for a while. That's a great mask, and I love it. Like Ghostface is just sipping like a big 40, and you know, Shorty's like smoking a blunt, and I don't like. There's that sequence too where they're all freestyling, and like the, you know, Ghostface does this freestyle and he's like killing everyone. Like all the stuff where Ghostface is hanging out with Shorty and his friends is great. But yeah, like something that's interesting about that sequence to me is, you know, that it's not a parody of like a horror film. It's a parody of just like a piece of pop culture media in general. And I think that's interesting because that's like the most notable scene for me in the movie that's not a parody of something horror related. And I can't recall like others. There probably are other sequences in the movie that are, you know, spoofing non-horror stuff, but for me, like that's the only one that I recognize in the first movie. But it's interesting to see that was kind of the start of that, where if like as you watch the franchise, as the, you know, the sequels go on and on, they just like continuously parody more non-horror stuff. And yeah, like, you know, Scary Movie 3 is like like they're parodying so many like films and pieces of media that are non-horror related, where you're like, yeah, like as the franchise progresses, it's interesting to see how it just like continuously like diverges, and it's like not even really like about horror. Like I feel like the fourth and fifth ones, they're just parodying everything. It's like it like barely like, of course it, like at its core it does still parody like a lot of horror stuff, but it's like they're just spoofing everything, like any commercial, any movie, like, and it's like interesting to see that it's like it did kind of start here where they're like parodying commercials. So yeah, that's I don't know, something I always think about. And moving on, you got to talk about Doofy. He's one of the funniest characters, and whenever I think of Doofy, I always think about, you know, when his sister is talking about like, when are you gonna stop sticking your dick in the vacuum cleaner? And then you see him like later on, he's walking around, he's in his boxers with the vacuum cleaner. But I don't know, I don't know if people have seen this photo. I have it posted on my YouTube. I got it on my Instagram and stuff too, which I don't know if people like, yeah, people on here haven't seen my Instagram. You're not really missing out on much. I don't like post on there really, but I have this photo on my YouTube of me meeting Dave Sheridan, who played Doofy, and he's in full costume. He's in full Doofy costume, and when he goes to conventions, he brings the little handheld vacuum. So basically, in like the picture that I took with him, I took a couple, but it's Dave Sheridan in full Doofy costume with the vacuum cleaner, and he's got the vacuum cleaner like, you know, on my dick basically, and I'm like acting like he's like, you know, he's got me hooked up with the vacuum cleaner to my member, to my package, to my family jewels. So yeah, that's a great picture. It was awesome meeting him. He like, when I was like meeting people, like I went to this it was called Motor City Nightmares. Like I'm from Michigan, so it was Motor City is like Detroit. So basically I went to this convention last summer. It was like the first one I ever went to. It was a horror convention, and I met him and Felissa Rose, and I didn't want to be like a star fucker, so I wasn't just immediately talking to them about like, oh, I love you in this movie, and remember in this scene, and you did that. I was just kind of like, hey, nice to meet you, you know, how's it going? We were just kind of like cracking jokes. Like it wasn't really like, I wasn't like being like a total fanboy nerd star fucker, because I mean, I probably could have done that. A lot of people probably do that, but I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, I was just like kind of chatting them up about whatever. But like like Dave Sheardon, he was in full Doofy costume, and everyone was having him sign uh, pictures where it's like the Doofy character from Scary Movie, and people were bringing like VHSs and DVDs and posters from Scary Movie, and I just came up there and like when it came time to pick out a photo, I picked out a photo from the movie Victor Crowley, which is the fourth movie in the Hatchet franchise, and he was so happy that I picked that. He's like, because everyone was just asking him about Scary Movie, Scary Movie, Scary Movie. That's like his most notable role. You know, like of course, like he's dressed up as that. Like he embraces that. Like that's probably his most iconic, most like mainstream popular role. But I grabbed the Victor Crowley picture and I had him sign that, and he was so happy. He's like, "Oh, you've seen Victor Crowley?" He's like, "Nobody's seen that." He's like, "Nobody even knows that I'm in that." And then he started to like really like just start talking about that movie, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, Adam Green, he wrote that part for me. Like I didn't have to audition. He reached out to me." And I was like, "Yeah, I love your comedy in that when you're doing all the impressions." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, thank you. Like I spent so much time with that character and blah blah blah." So it was really cool meeting him. He was like a super cool, funny guy, super down to earth, just like mad chill. He was awesome. But I thought it was cool too that he was like so excited because so many of these actors, you know, and musicians and media people, it's like they're recognized for one thing. So it's like I was like, yeah, like I've seen Victor Crowley. Like I didn't talk about like all the other movies I've seen with them in it because I didn't want them to think I'm a nerd. But I was like, yeah, like I love Victor Crowley, man. You're great in that. You're hilarious. Like, oh damn, like Adam Green wrote that for you. That's cool. And he was just like so happy that it's like someone talked to him about something besides Scary Movie. So yeah, that was cool meeting him. But I love his character in this. He's absolutely hilarious. Steals the show. One of the best characters. Okay, moving on. I really like the sequence where it's Brenda is in the movie theater and it's like a parody of the Scream 2 opening with like Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps, and it's so funny. She's eating like she's got like the full dinner going on. She's talking on the cell phone. She's spoiling the movie. She's loud. She's obnoxious. I thought I always like really enjoyed that scene, and that really stood out to me. And it always makes me think of there were instances where my buddies and I would be on that, like we wouldn't spoil the movie, you know, like that was probably why everyone, you know, ganged up and killed her. Because I mean, it's one thing to talk during the movie. Sometimes that's fun. That's what I'm about to get into. But you can't be spoiling the movie. That's a little crazy. But that sequence has always been hilarious to me. But I used to do that with my buddies. Like in middle school, I was kind of like a piece of shit, you know, as you are in middle school. So there was like this local theater, and I remember like my buddies and I think we were watching like Prince of Persia with Jake Gyllenhaal, and we were just like cracking jokes throughout the whole movie, and people were just looking at us like, do you want to die? Like, what the fuck? I'm trying to watch Prince of Persia here, okay? But we were just like cracking jokes. I think we were throwing popcorn. We were being pieces of shit, but it was like a matinee. It was like, you know, afternoon. Like, it wasn't that many people, so we're like, fuck it. But there's this little arcade place in my town. Like, this one kid's dad opened this arcade in like we called it the village. It was like this little like I live in the suburbs, so there's not like a lot of businesses, but there's like this little strip of like businesses and shops and like grocery stores and stuff, and we call it the village. And this one kid's dad opened this arcade there where you go down. It was like a basement. It sounds shady, but it was really cool. It was like you go in this basement, and it was just like a wall of TVs hooked up with Xbox 360s, and you would just pay to play Xbox 360. It was like an arcade, but only with Xbox 360. And basically you would pay by the half hour, and like that was the thing that my buddies and I would do in middle school. We would just go there, we would play Xbox because it was like you'd always see other kids from school, so we'd go there play Xbox. We'd be playing. It was like we would play Call of Duty World at War. I think it was before Black Ops came out, so we play like World at War, Zombies, Halo 3. But they also had a movie theater there, and it was like a not like a huge movie theater, but it was like almost like the size of a home theater. But it was nice. It was like a mini theater, but it was like it had like that real movie theater feel. And we wouldn't watch movies there all the time because it was more expensive and you had to have a group. But if we had a group, we would watch movies. And I remember we watched Insidious, and like all my buddies and I, we were just cracking jokes throughout the whole movie, which I actually really liked that movie. Like I don't know why we were cracking jokes the whole time, but I remember when there's that song where it's like tiptoe through the window, like my buddy's like, what the F is this? What is this, some SpongeBob? What are we watching, some SpongeBob? Like this, like he's like, what the F is this? Like, and then I think when the one demon guy came out, they were like laughing. They were like, what is this, Darth Maul? Like what am I watching, Star Wars? So yeah, I would always do that in middle school, like talk during movies and joke during movies. And I remember when I was 19, it was like back when I still like smoked and stuff. Like I was like high AF, and I was just I was like with this girl, and we were at this movie, and it was like, we were just going there for something to do, and I didn't really care about the movie. And there's this one lady that was just, I forgot what movie it was, but I just remember like there was some, I think like she was making fun of like the guy main character. I think it was some romantic thing, but she kept saying like, oh, this guy's crusty, or he's goofy, or he's dusty, what have you. Like she was just like flaming all the main characters and joking throughout the movie. And I was like just like high AF, like I could not stop laughing. Like I think I had to like step out for a sec because it was just like this movie that I didn't care about with like some goofy ass characters, and this lady, she was the funniest lady ever. She was just flaming every single character in the movie. Like she like, I don't know, shouts out to that lady. I don't know what she's doing right now, but that was like a great experience as well. So basically that was kind of a long-winded thing, but I have always liked that sequence with Brenda talking during Shakespeare. I always love how she said Shakespeare too. She's like, oh, what you doing? Oh, I'm watching Shakespeare. Like, I always loved that. And I don't know, I like relate to that because my buddies and I, we used to do that in middle school. Like, that was always fun, just being a total asshole, like joking during movies. And then there's been it really just the only other time the only time I remember it was like someone else doing it was that one time when that one time that I explained with that lady. But yeah, that scene has a special place in my heart because I don't know, sometimes cracking jokes during movies, it's great. I mean, she wasn't really cracking jokes, she was just talking on the phone and blah blah blah, but I don't know, I love that scene. And I always like I like the Brenda character, the Brenda and Cindy character. Like they're in like a lot of these movies. I like how they like return, and I don't know. And then like Shorty and stuff. I like a lot of like the returning characters in like the early scary movies. I think, I was about to say the Cindy character, she's not in the fifth one. The only returning person in the fifth one is Simon Rex, but he didn't come into the third one. But I love him. But anyways, yeah, I love pretty much like all the characters in this. I like, speaking of that sequence, I like when they parodied Omar Epps' death from Scream 2, and then Ray, he like goes up to the glory hole and he gets like a dick stabbed through his head. That shit was great as well. Gotta shout that out. Moving on, so there's this quick little sequence where Cindy is in class, and it's like a parody of Halloween where you see, Ghostface out the window when she's in class like Michael Myers. And something that I thought I saw when I was watching that, like, in this movie, it's a Ghostface mask, but it's different. Like the mouth is wider, the eyes are a little bit different so that they don't get sued, because it's like a parody. They can't have like just the straight up Ghostface mask. But when I saw that scene, I saw the ghost face mask out the window, it looked like just a regular Scream mask. It didn't look like the mask that the killer was wearing throughout the whole movie, where it had like I said, like the wider mouth, and it looked a little bit sillier and a little bit distorted. Like when I was watching that sequence, it looked just like they used like a Scream mask that they bought from a store, like a licensed Scream mask from the actual movie. I could be wrong. I could have maybe, like, it was late at night and it was like a blink and you miss it thing, so I could be tripping, but it looked like they just used an actual ghost face mask, like an actual Scream mask, and and I was like, how do they get away with that? Like, how do they not get sued? That's not like the Scary Movie ghost face mask. It's like they bought just a straight up like licensed ghost face mask from CVS and used it for that scene. Like, what the heck? But I could be tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But I thought in that sequence it was an actual ghost face mask. So I don't know. I gotta rewind it. I gotta go back. I'm gonna do some research later. And then yeah, the last point that I want to get into is just, I mean, this movie, like I said, this is a movie that I've seen so many times. I've rewatched it over and over and over, and it's so memorable. And the first Scream, I rewatched that over and over and over as well. Like I rewatch this every couple years. I rewatch the first Scream every couple years, and this movie is just so memorable. I can't not think of it when I watch Scream. But it doesn't ruin Scream for me, but I like whenever I'm watching Scream and you know, Dewey comes up and knocks on the door and gets kind of scared, like I just think of Doofy, and you know, like the sequence where the girl gets killed with the garage door. I think of the parody sequence where it's like that, you know, plus size girl gets smashed in the garage door. Like it's just, I don't know, like this movie is just, it has so many memorable sequences. It's like ingrained in my brain. Whenever I watch Scream, I think of this movie, and yeah, I absolutely love this movie. So in terms of a recommendation, I think this is a classic. Like I really really like this movie. Like the first Scary Movie I love. So I would absolutely positively recommend it. But yeah, that has been my review of Scary Movie. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.